You either love it or you hate it. Welcome to the Circuit of the Americas for the penultimate round of Night Owl Season 11. Will we see the Italian manufacturers dominate another race? Or could we maybe see the Germans take the upper hand tonight? My name is Stewie. With me on the comms is Ted Edwards, and on the cams is also me. If you're wondering why it's me today and not Jesse, that's because Jesse is at Spa doing the 24-hour SRO GT International Challenge, or whatever that's called. And yeah, when we're done here with Night Owl, you should go to that broadcast and support our boy Jesse. But for now, hello Ted, and how are you feeling about the track and the race today?
Well, it's going to be an interesting one, as again, low numbers, but still quite many cars between both splits as it stands. So I think it's going to be quite good. We've seen a lot of people been practicing just before, this practice session and beforehand. And yeah, I see the times are very competitive between the top two as we see right now on my little screen we have. They got the same lap time. So we'll just have to wait and see what they do in qualifying. But yeah, it's going to be a close one. A lot of people are fighting for first in the standings in their championship for silver and for pro. So it's going to be a fun one at COTA today.
Yeah, you mentioned the standings, and of course we're going to have a more detailed look at that later after the qualifying. But I think P2 to P5 are all within maybe 10 to 15 points, and only P1 is a bit further ahead of the rest. I think it's actually Bakirdan who is leading the championship and also going out first in qualifying tonight. But yeah, COTA. Have you done races on this track already?
I've done a few. I've done a few just normal races, and I've done the EWC race, the EWC series we're doing. That was round one, and wasn't the best for us, unfortunately. But the track's not too bad. It's not my favourite. It's probably my least favourite. I think it's just because how technical the track is. The S is here, and it's just a lot of left right in the corners, moving the weight of the car side to side very quickly. It's got to, you've got to find that good stable setup for you to be able to do that. And yeah, unfortunately, I haven't found that yet. So that's probably why I don't like it. But it's a very good track. Likes to shred your tires a little bit because of the the heat in here in America. But it's not too bad. It's good to watch the races.
Yeah, shredding the tires. That was also my only experiences on this track. Also in EWC, and I think in the first 20 minutes, my front tires were already gone.
Yeah, it is a tire shredder, but yeah, it's we'd have to see what they do tonight. Obviously, we do have pit requirements as well, which we'll get into the race. So it might actually help the drivers, the pit requirements, but as we say, we'll get into them in a bit.
Sounds like we might have 2 pit stops then.
That was last race, Stewie.
Oh, true. That was the Red Misano race with the double pit stops.
Yeah, which apparently all the drivers like. So we might have to whack in another one of them in the next season of Night Owl. Season 12. 11 seasons already, Stewie. It's been a lot.
You know what we didn't have so far? Triple pit stop 1 hour race.
Oh, well. Might have to sneak that one in for next season if I don't get shouted at by Tom Bryan again. But
Did we have a triple pit stop 1.5 hour race? I think so, right?
Probably when Mike Jones did it, not when I did it.
I feel like I recall a Laguna race with triple pit stops. Probably. But Bakirdan here, off to his first flying lap in the qualifying. Already made it past the snake section. Do these corners even have proper names, or is it one of the tracks where it's just numbers? I think it's just numbers, right?
By the looks of it, what the stewards have, it's just numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, this first section is especially tough on the tires. You can, of course, when you're driving, you can see the pressures and temps of the tires, and just see how they're burning up in that fast part, because you're just going left, right, left, right, left, right, and it's all very fast, and yeah, it's really taxing on these tires. But the most important thing, he did not invalidate the lap there, which is very easy to do. And coming up to the last section already, the last section of the track, which is a bit more tight and a bit slower than the rest, but still very technical. So far it's looking really clean. I've mentioned it in my opening. In the past few weeks, I feel like we've had a lot of Lamborghinis and Ferraris in the top 3 spots in our races, not only in Night Owl, but if we just look back at yesterday, the Friday champ, we had a Lambo and 2 Ferraris in the top 3, so really curious how they will finish today, this track.
So the Italians have made a comeback in ACC as recent then, so that's good to know, because I remember when I was driving the Lamborghini, it was it's a game, and then it dropped off a little bit, so nice to see that they're coming back again. And Baccarat done a 205.3, followed by Piers, who did a 206.2, so already almost a second ahead of the other pros. Lamgo sets his time as well, 206.1, so second to fourth is close, but first place running away for it. You have to see what Barazagi does, because they're pretty close in the points in the minute. They keep swapping each round who comes first and who comes second. So have to see what happens. Who's that parked to the side of the road? That was Audi.
They leave? Or am I just blind? Oh no, it was Bakirdan who left. Who parked on the side of the road. But Kazagi, a bit closer than Flamga, and I'm pretty sure he lost quite a lot of time in the last corner. There we saw him jumping over the curb, which is also one of the tweaks of this track. These pyramid-shaped inside curbs that are just there to, I guess, annoy everyone. And but yeah, below 5, that seems pretty quick for these temps. I would say maybe mid-4s are possible for like super fast drivers, but a low 5 as the first lap, that's already pretty good.
Yeah, it's nice to get a good lap like that in, and Dario Barzaghi, the number 8 Ferrari, is a 206.102, so 7 tenths, almost 8 tenths off the pace, I'd like to say, because he should be up there with 54, but we'll have to wait and see. Pimlott is first in silver, and it by, what's that, 7 tenths, so that's pretty good. Followed by the 740, and then Gaio in the 812. 812, not got a good lap in, 2 seconds off of silver pace, I would say, but we just have to wait and see. There's some good fights in silver. We'll have a look at the standings after this qualifying session, but yeah, it's very, very close in silver right now. So, it's all points to fight for, and it's going to be a good race today, I would say.
And before the race, in our internal chats here, we talked about what happens when people don't set a time in qualifying. And looking at the standings so far, I mean, we still have 8 minutes to go, but not even half the field has put one valid lap in. And looking at my live timings here, there's a lot of invalid laps at the moment. So I think we might see a few people maybe not setting a lap today.
Yeah, it could possibly be. It's that first section after the first corner, we like to call them the S's, because it just snakes like them very easily to get a track cut there, which will obviously invalidate in a qualifying session. In a race, it will give you a warning. Obviously, 3 warnings as a drive-through. So, well, 4 warnings, sorry, 3 warnings, and then 1 more it gives you a drive-through, and it's not what you want here, but very easy to get a warning, lose your time. So just have to wait and see, and see where people end up. We've still got 3 pros that haven't set a timing as well. the 71, 41, and the 93, and they all should be setting lap times. I think they're fighting. Yeah, Fonza and Ulrich are fighting for a third of the minute in the pro class, and Marcos can get up there as well, but have to wait and see.
And it's not only the first section, it's basically every exit of all the corners is just very easy to run a bit right, because you, similar to Paul Ricard, where you don't have a lot of gravel pits or grass or anything, you tend to try and go as wide as you possibly can, because there's just the very flat curbs or the tarmac where you can drive over, but it's punished very hard on this track. And here we have Fonza setting his first lap, still waiting for the people, and I think the majority of them also on an invalid lap right now, because if you invalidate in the first section here, it's such a long drive to get another lap in. 2 minutes 5, that's it should be the second longest track we have in the game, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure what are the lap times on Indianapolis. It should be a bit faster than this, right?
Indy, can't remember. I was watching someone earlier that was doing laps. I think it's like 140s or 150s.
Yeah, so second longest track, and yeah, it's such a pain to just invalidate in the first sector and then having to do a full lap, especially with this short qualifying that we have here today. So yeah, just need to get the lap in, and then hope that you can go quicker. And so far, no one really got close to Buckedan.
Yeah, it's what's that? Still 7, almost 8 tenths still. The Flamgas are closest, ahead of Dario, which is very surprising. I would have thought, Dario would have been, oh, there they go, second place now. But it's still 7 tenths away at 206.005. So that's, unless Kieran's just got a really good setup for that Lamborghini. It's it's a little bit weird to see, but still got 4.5 minutes of qualifying left, so still still time to get it. But just looking at the back of the pack, there's still 3 silvers and a pro that still haven't got a time in, that all would invalidate their last lap. So you have to wait for them to see if they can set a lap. And like we said before, it goes by joint order, so have to wait and see. I don't think I've seen anyone not do a lap in qualifying before, so it'll be a first for me.
Yeah, and Marcos here just improving by over 2 seconds, which is a lot, and that put him at least closer to the rest of the field. Kazagi also on a quicker lap right now, but 7 tenths is quite the big gap to make up, so let's see something to gain here already in the last sector. Currently 3 to 4 tenths up. Now it's around 5, gaining a lot in this corner. But yeah, all these slow corners here, you can gain and lose so much by just slightly missing the brake or like having a good line, because you're having to slow down the car so much. And on these exits, actually, in the last sector, you always have these kind of sausage anti-cut curbs that just bump your car into the air, so you can't really sacrifice your line a bit, and you have to be very precise. And let's see what he can do coming over the line. Improvement by about 6 tenths, 5 to 6 tenths, and it's getting closer.
That's more like it, isn't it?
It's a Lambo and a Ferrari at the top.
Yeah, followed by an Audi, surprisingly, but not too surprisingly. Audi's pretty fast still. Yeah, just have to see what Pierce can come with against Flanger there, and maybe Fralla, because Fralla's very close to Pierce. It's pretty close between 3rd to 6th. Flanger, Flanger, Pierce, Fralla, and Daly, very, very close, which is very nice to see. Daly, getting a good qualifying lap in. He's not been doing too great in the night-hour races so far, but he some good points today if he carries on. But yeah, like you were saying earlier about poor card. You know, you got your first and your last sector or your technicals, and then your mid sector is your straight. And this is what COTA is like as well. It's got the S's in the first sector, which is really annoying and warms the tires like crazy. Second sector cools them off, and then the third sector is painfully slow. And if you mess a corner up, you lose so much time, and you have a slide coming out of the corner because you put your foot down too much, or you put your foot down with a bit of turn on, you slide the rear, you lose that time. So it's hard to get every corner perfect. See there, the Aston Martin in front of the 41 just hitting those anti-cuts, and they are so painful, and especially coming out of the last corner, you want to try and go as wide as you can, but the anti-cuts can easily just grab you and, you know, bounce your car everywhere.
And Martin Ulrich here, finally setting a valid lap and putting himself into P5, very close behind Flamger. And this is actually the last lap they can do, because they crossed the line a bit too late. And it's not looking too good right now. 3/10 down on their lap time. Stephen Clark actually abandoned the qualifying, so they are not gonna get a valid lap in.
Oh, there we go. Probably a night owl first, maybe, for someone not completing the qualifying session with a you know, a time. So they'll be at the back of pack anyway. Doesn't really matter. Everyone else has done a time, but yeah, it's pretty close in all classes, which is nice to see. Obviously, the top two in pro sort of walking away with it at the minute, but do see Pierce is up on his time. Don't want to jinx it too much. He's only halfway around the track, but you never know, might pull a tasty lap out of thin air.
And Bazagi and Bakedan are also still on a valid lap. So all of these three just on their last lap at the moment. Looks like Bakedan will not improve the time. And it doesn't look too good for Bazagi as well. But can Pierce make up 5 to 6/10? Not looking like that at the moment. Gap is definitely gonna come down. Oh, and this section, it's also if you turn in a bit too late or you're a bit too fast on the entry, you're just being washed out so wide and have to slow down and lose so much time. We saw it here. He was about 2 to 3/10 up before this long corner and then lost almost all the time again, because the car just understeered a bit too far. And looks like there was an improvement, but only by, what, about a 10th?
Minor. Yeah, it was just under a 10th. Unfortunately, like you said, when he washed out wide, he lost all his time. And yeah, I've done that so many times. This corner is so horrible if you don't get it right. You have to lift off. You don't want to get a track cut, don't want to invalidate. So one of them. But we see here, Flamger, he is up on his time. Let's see if he does an improvement. See if he takes third away from Piers. Comes up to the line now.
He does.
He does. A 205.800. Very nice, nicely done by him. So yeah, so it just sneaks it away. Piers, I think, would have kept it if he got his timing, but yeah, unfortunately, he washed out wide and lost it all.
And Marcos here at the end, improving by about 6/10 as well. Getting a bit closer to the rest of the pro field. Look at the sectors. So it seems like the Lambo just very quick on the straight.
Yeah, it's probably a bit of lower wing. Yeah, not too far off in the first sector, to be fair. The three of them very close. Second sector, obviously, walking away with it by 2/10 on second and 4 on third, and then yeah, you look at the last sector. It's pretty close. Not too far away, within 2/10 of each other. So yeah, it's that straight. This is where they're losing. Some of them are losing the time.
Also, the second sector actually starts like in the middle or at the beginning of the S's at the start. So it's the second sector very long, and the first one just very short.
Yeah, very weird that, but that is that is the order of the qualifying. We got Bergen in first, Barazagi in second, and Flamge in third for pro. And we got in silver, we got Glinsky in 8th place, first in silver, and we got Pimlot in second, and the 615 in third. I'm not going to butcher that name. I'm not that nasty. But yeah,
I'm gonna say it's Gaida.
Yeah, okay, Gaida. That's how we say it. But yeah, so not too bad. Two pros, Fonza and Macross, sitting a bit further back, but not too bad at all. And here we have the standings for the championship as it is. We got Vulcan in first in pro with 134 points, flying away with this. Done very well so far. Followed by Dario and Fonza, 93 and 65. Then followed by in fourth and fifth, Auric and Piers, 63 points each. It's very close there. It's going to be a good race today. Flamger and Marcos fighting for, well, 6th place, 5th place, potentially, with 46 and 45 points. Rogers, Eraser, and Fralla top 80, top 10 with 40, 38, and 28 points each. So pretty close to the top 10 there. Not all of them here today, unfortunately. Rogers and Eraser bowing out. Is the back of pro. Daly has 21 points in 11th, and everyone else here is either not here or signed out. Oh, look at this for silver. It's a little bit closer here at the top end with Glinksy and Bilski first, second, 100 points each. Oh, look at that. It's going to be a good race today. Aston Martin versus a Lamborghini. A good thing to see. Third and fourth, we've got 84 and 83 points with Maltini and Pimlot. Very close there as well. Followed by Fillmore with 67. Sorry. Boss Pusini with 53 and 48. And then at the back end, 8th, 9th, and 10th is 44, 33, and 23. That is Kano, Gaio, and Gadja. That is your top 10 in silver. Very close there, very nice. Going to be seeing some good racing today. Then for the back end of silver, we've got Clark and with 18 points in 11th, with Thomas Jelkin with 5 in that Lamborghini in 12th, and everyone else, unfortunately, not here or has signed out. So it's very close in silver. It's still close in pro. Obviously, Vulcan's walking away with it, Stewie, like he has been for a while, but you never know. He might have a bad race, might have a crash, might end up at the back, and Flamger or Dario might come back and get a load of points and even it out for the last race. But that silver place is pretty good. So we have about a minute until we start our formation lap. Looking at that Ferrari on the left there, that's a very nice livery they have. And then we got Lamborghini, Ferrari, got McLaren. I can see another Lamborghini there. I think that's Daly sitting back there in a nice position. Got Audis. We do have Beamers in this pack as well. There's a Honda at the back. So quite a few cars here. Different manufacturers, but well, like we said, every race so far, it's the Italians on the top end.
Indeed. And sorry, I just had a slight technical issue, but I'm back now. So talked about the standings, and we don't have a drop round in this Night Owl season, which means that today's race can make or break the championship chances for a lot of these drivers. Of course, in silver, it's a bit closer than in pro. But yeah, even in pro, the top 5 all still have a chance for a potential P2. And I think in pro, the top 5 are all here. And in silver, I think Maltini is not here today, if I remember correctly. So we have P1 and P2 who are both in the race. And we have Pimlot, who will probably gain a lot of points today. Compared to
That's right.
Bilski.
Yeah, Maltini and the Ferrari's not here. So we only got one Ferrari on the field, and that's Dario. So pretty surprised. I'm not sure why. I didn't see a sign out. Could have just been my eyes though. But yeah, most of the silvers are here, which is nice to see. A few of the pros aren't. Rogers, as I said before, and Razor's not here. They both have signed out. Unfortunately, Rogers signed out the championship now, which is sad to see because he's always finished what he starts, but I think he's got some stuff going on behind the scenes. But yeah, it's almost everyone's here, which is nice to see this late into a season where we don't have that many cars, not many sign-ups, but I think today is going to be a lovely race. And talk about the race itself, let's talk about the mandatory pit stop, the pit rules, should I say. It's one mandatory pit stop with a tyre change, a litre of fuel, and that's all they have to do that, and it's a 33-minute pit window, so it'll open about 15 minutes in and it'll close with 15 minutes left of the race roughly. So not too bad of a pit window, but they've got a tyre change in there, Stewie, which should help with these hot temperatures of COTA, and you know that, as we said before, the tyre shred in there, it can half fuel it, hammer those tyres and get some fresh ones for the last stint.
I think even without the pit window, most of these drivers would have gone for hitting in the middle, just because if you have tire change anyways, and where you have the 30 seconds standing time either way, you're just gonna take the fuel, and yeah, it just makes the most sense to do it half and half. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if the pits here are gonna decide some places, because this pit entry is very notorious for failed entries. I think in the race that we did in EWC, we had a few cars who either hit the wall because it's quite a sharp turn, or who just sped into the pits because the pit board was gone, and because it's a new track, nobody knew where the line exactly was, and I have to put myself on that list because the pit board was moved, but it wasn't gone. It was just a bit too far into the pit, which meant I slowed down on the board, but the board wasn't where the line was.
Yeah, I got to put myself in there as well for hitting the pit wall. Came in a bit too hot and heavy, and yeah, just went wide and went smack straight into it. So it's very difficult if you are not thinking too much about it. But yeah, you got to start braking way before you think you have to. It's a very weird pit entry, but yeah, it's a bit of practice and you'll be fine.
Right, do you want to take us for the start here while I control our drone?
Gonna get that drone out. You like flying that drone a bit. Well, here we go. Round 5 of now at COTA. Get off to a start in just a second. Lights are red and they will go green. Roundabout. Waiting for it. This is fun. Here we go. It's green, and we're off. See who pulls out. We'll see if we get 3 wide into turn 1, as we see Lamborghini still in front with a Ferrari behind. See the Audi making the inside. We've got McLaren around the outside. 3 wide at the back end. No one has made any real mistakes apart from one going wide. The pink car there. Pretty clean for the first. See 3 wide in the middle there, going into the S's. That is something to see right there. Yeah, pretty straightforward start. Very nice, very clean. We still have everyone in one piece, which is very nice to see. Still got 2 wide in the mid pack. Yeah, pretty easy, pretty clean, as I like to see it. As we come down to the long straight, we see some diving going on, but nothing really happening. There's a car around. I don't know who that is. I think that's the Aston Martin. That's Porsche. I think that might be Fonza, the only Porsche that is here.
It was, yeah.
I'm not sure
Yes.
what happened there, but it's dropping down the field, as I see on the relative now. It was sideways. Could have just been a little tap, but yeah, apart from that, not doing too bad. Maltini, I have just seen, has made it to the track. He's sitting in pit lane. think forgot that the race was on today.
I mean, they did sign out of the race today. So
Oh.
maybe they thought they couldn't make it, but in the end, still kind of made it, but didn't. So
Yeah, a bit weird there, but we'll have to see if they join the track. They probably will. They've joined now, but and they get a lap back. That's the thing. They'll be held there for a certain amount of time. They can't just go out and drive. So have to wait and see what happens. But
I mean, they don't really need to get a lap back, because how many silvers are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12. So if only like wait, how many points do we get here? Top 15. So they're guaranteed points, which is already very important, since we looked at the standings and it was all pretty close. And yeah, if only one or maybe two drivers maybe retire due to drive-throughs or incidents, they will just get points. And we can see them moving in the pits right now, which means that's probably what they're gonna do or try and do today. And let's have a look at what happened to Fonza there. Should be this one. Well, the Aston just a bit early on the throttle.
bonk.
But that was actually the only incident we had in lap 1.
Yeah, not too bad going for COTA, to be fair. You know, there's a lot of corners where people want to try and make a move, and yeah, that move didn't go too well, but it is what it is. We've got stewards on hand to have a look. Our lovely stewarding team is here and awake. Don't know how long they'll be awake for. If this is a pretty clean race. Remember last weekend where the wet Pisano, they sort of fell asleep a little bit towards the end of the race, but yeah, they're doing an excellent job here at RCI. So you know, if it wasn't for them, then you know, if we're getting away with all the hitting
murder.
and bashing, so we basically, yeah. So yeah, got to give them props there.
Here just made the move on Gaio around the outside there, or rather first the inside, then the outside. And apart from these two, everybody else already kind of spread out. A bit close here in the midfield, but if we look at the front, there's already a second between P1 and P2 and P3 and then almost P5. So maybe just a strategy call here from these people to maybe push a bit more at the start or something. So obviously the way is still very long, but it seems like the pace that we saw in qualifying kind of representing itself here in the race as well.
Yeah, Vulcan's just running away with it a little bit. Second was 1.1 seconds in front of Dario in that Ferrari, followed by Flamga pretty close, and then Piers second and 0.3 behind. But yeah, it's not going too bad for the drivers right now. Pimlot's caught up to Gadja, so that's going to be a fun little race to watch there. And Elkin on Boss, pretty close as well. That's Lamborghini versus Audi, so two screaming V10s chasing each other, followed by another Lamborghini in the mirror of us as well.
It was very close.
I believe that was contact.
There was contact, yeah.
Yeah, that was lucky that the Audi didn't spin. That was a bit too close for comfort, if I'd like to say, Stewie.
I was just about to say, it looks like the Lamborghini's not really catching up to the Audi there, but then the Audi braked quite early and surprised the Lambo there a bit. Luckily, hit the back before the turn-in happened, which means no harm done, except a tiny bit of damage. Gonna have to wait a few laps until these two are fighting again. In the meantime, Himlot here, behind Gazda, or Gaida, I already forgot what I told you earlier, how to pronounce it. Impressive.
It's difficult. It's difficult pronouncing names. It's not something I like to do. I normally get Jesse to do it because he doesn't mind. But oh, already
That
a
was
DT.
3 laps in. That was fast.
So, oh, okay. So it's not a track. I thought that was already a track cut, Stewie. I'm about to say it's very easy, as we said before, to get warnings for track cuts, but that is not. That is a penalty.
Oh, that is for the incident with the Porsche. Okay.
It is, yeah. Lap 1, turn 11 involving the 6 and the 93 DT for car 6 takes out the 93 going through turn 11. No position return. So that's Glinsky. That's not very good for you. You know, where are they? They are they're first in silver in the championship right now, so they're going to lose quite a bit. And Bilski's sitting there in fourth at the minute. You know, they're both tied for 100 points each. So that's a pretty big game changer. Bilski there, you know, early on in this race, you got to serve that TT within 3 laps. If you don't, you get disqualified. You won't be able to race anymore. So that's it's not something when you want to have straight away. But you never know. Bilski might have a penalty. You know, if they make a mistake into someone, or if they just make a mistake in general. But this little battle here is heating up a little bit. So.
Oh, the Audi there. Checking out the sausages on the side.
Oh.
Maybe didn't have dinner yet. And lost a position after going a bit wide. But it's not done yet, because behind we have Nico, who also wants to get by now. And I was surprised how fast Jelinek actually caught back up to the Audi again. Wide again. Oh!
That's and the wall. That's not. I don't know how they ended. Oh, there's a Lamborghini around behind them as well. That's
That
a
is
Honda.
a Honda.
Sorry.
Just lost it on the brakes.
Oh, too heavy coming into there with too much speed, I would say. But the Audi of Boss just losing it into the wall after going wide was a bit weird to see. But I'm not sure if they saw that there was a car on the left and they went to move and they just slipped. Not too sure, but that's a bit of damage that you don't want. No, pit window's not open yet, so you can't serve and repair. You don't really want to come in now and waste all that time repairing. You know, 10 minutes into the race, it's not something you want to do. But we'll have to wait and see how Boss can get on with you know, that damage. But you know, we're here with Fonza. You know, the Porsche that got spun around earlier. You know, hopefully can start climbing up that board again. But
here we have the Audi of Boss, and I mean that was quite a heavy impact. So I would imagine that they lost some straight line speed and aero. Luckily for them, there's not too many drivers behind them, which means they're not going to lose too many positions. But yeah, definitely going to drop them down a bit. Not sure what lap times they were doing before, so can't really compare to what they're doing now. Back to Fonza, who's still trying to catch back up to the pro field. And that's going to be hard overtaking the Lambo here. Because you have all these straights, and we know what the Porsche cannot do, and that is going fast in a straight line. Even though I feel like on these America tracks, the straight line speed is not as bad as it is on let's call them old tracks. But still, especially with the Lamborghini recently seeming pretty quick, also on the straight line. Gonna be a very difficult task here. And you can see this section, the Porsche just closing up like it's nothing. And maybe trying to go for the inside here. And actually made it stick. Very nice and very clean.
Yeah, pretty risky move going through that corner, but very well played to Fonza for that one, getting past Bilski there. for a place overall, but not any points in the Pro Championship. But yeah, still a place closer to Marcos, who is fighting in the minute. Who's this? Jelkin in 14th. Oh, hitting that curb and losing that the rear end of the Lambo, keeping out the wall. Very well done. Only lost one place.
The sausage cups again.
And jeez, that's yeah. You don't want to be touching them too much. As you see, they are very violent around COTA. You know, compared to some other tracks, they're pretty dangerous, but well held to, you know, not lose it again. Very easy to lose a car when it's, you know, that high in the air.
If there's one track where you're glad that there's no floor damage to the cars in ACC, then it's this one.
Oh yeah, any other game, it would have been brutal, you know, to go over them. But you see here, Frala's getting swamped by two silvers. The top two silvers here, Geiger and Pimlott, are just all over the rear end of that Beamer. And you know, last I saw was 4.5 seconds down to Daly. Daly sort of just keeping up with the front pack, and Frala's just sort of dropped off, and I'm not sure why that is. There's no damage to the car, I believe, but just looking at the qualifying, and Frala was, you know, less than half a tenth of Daly, so good in qualifying. But you know, like I always say, it's not always qualifying that you want to be good at. It's the race, it's the race pace itself. Yeah, just, you know, 6.4 seconds, dropped even more. So not sure what's going on with that BMW there. As we see, Pimlott's doing absolutely fine. So could just be setup, could be the driver, could be any sort of things. But pit window is open, so drivers can jump in and get their pit requirements done and dusted. But I don't think they will, Stu. It's only, you know, 14 minutes in. Still, you know, at least 15 minutes until halfway, which is, I think, most of them will pit.
And we might see Boss pit for the damage. And something else that's a possibility, if they're already on maybe 2 or 3 warnings, which is definitely not impossible on this track, they might just take it a bit easier right now. For example, Ersta or Gaida in this lap, they definitely got 2 off tracks in the first section. Not sure if these were warnings as well, but they were definitely off tracks. There's Stephen Clark. Spun that under again. Seems like a bit struggling on under braking here for these hairpins, because the other time was in the hairpin in the last corner. So maybe not quite comfortable with the setup. But back to Pimlott. And surprisingly, no real overtake attempt yet from them.
I think they're waiting for Geiger to make a move on Frala, and then follow them through a bit, you know, a little bit easier, rather than trying to take the Aston and getting stuck in between the Beamer and the Aston. You know, just wait for a window to open and get an easy overtake, which is something I would do. But yeah, go back to Clark and his car. I'm thinking brake bias might not be right for either the wing or the rake he has going on that car, and it's probably a bit too far forward. And when he's braking, it's just bringing the rear around, and it's very easy to do on you know, a lot of the cars that are mid-engine. I think the Honda is mid-engine car. If I'm right, Stewie?
I'm definitely the wrong person to ask about cars, so I'm just gonna say yes.
But still, it's you know, with more front bias and less rear downforce, it's definitely gonna spin that car around, especially in those tight left-handers that we have here, like this one right here. Is easy just to, you know, slam the brake on and you spin around. I've done it many times in the Mercedes, as we see here. Dio is driving. Only the one Mercedes that we have this season, fortunately. But yeah, I think that's what Clark is struggling with, is just like you said, the brakes, just oh, that's
It was
a bit
Aston
close.
that got really big, really quick.
Linsky, falling down to 18th after that drive-through penalty he's served, and yeah, he really wants to get past, and Io just lets him pass, I guess.
I
Probably
think
sees that.
I think Gaio's struggling a bit as well. We could see that in the first section where the car was going a bit more to the left and right than it should have been. And was actually holding the position against Gaio there quite well. And we see the first driver going into the pits, which is Pusina. I did not expect that, but maybe they just took even less fuel for the start to maybe gain a bit on people on the straight while everybody is still close. And where's Frawler? Quite far ahead now. So
Oh yeah, it was 2 seconds ahead. It was closer than that we saw earlier on. So has
maybe he...
the
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, well, I was about to say, has the Aston and the Beamer behind these two silver drivers, have they destroyed their tyres already, trying to fight to get past? Easily done, whereas all the other cars are sort of relaxed, not really pushing it too hard. Um, who knows? That's what I'm thinking.
Or maybe Frawler just had a few laps where maybe the concentration was not quite there, or just didn't hit the lines, and now just got himself back into the rhythm. Gonna have to see the lap times these guys are doing now. Frawler's last lap was a 2:68, which is hard to tell if that's on pace, because everyone ahead is just very mixed. We have a 2:59 from Bakedan, a 2:56 from Bazagi, a 2:81 from Flamger, a 2:66 from Pierce, a 2:62 from Ulrich, and a 2:71 from Daly. So very all over the place with the lap times at the moment, which is just another sign of this track being not one of the easier ones. This one 2:72 from Frala, a 2:71 from Gajda, and a 2:73 from Pimlott. So yeah, either these two just had a small fight and lost some time, or yeah, it's just the tires, whatever. Could be a lot of reasons.
Yeah, we see the second driver coming as well. Thomas Jelnik is coming in at 32 to do their pit stop in that Lamborghini. So that's two drivers already in, both in silver. 20 minutes in, very weird. So I wouldn't have thought, coming in at this time, but who knows? They might have a strategy under their sleeve, and that might work out for them. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, looking at the fastest laps, looking at Vulcan's 2:05.372, but his last lap was a 2:05.9. So it's like, what's going on there? And then looking at Dario's a 2:05.5, but his last lap was a 2:05.8. So it's not really consistent between the top guys, which I would have thought would have been, a bit more consistent with Dario and Vulcan, being the top two in pro, top two in the championship as well. It's a little bit weird in the minute, but I have to wait and see. Dario's not really lost that much time on Vulcan since the start. 20 minutes ago, it was still 2 seconds sort of thing. So it's not looking too bad for Dario. Might be able to pull a win out of this one. We just have to wait and see. But these two still fighting, as well as Ulrich and Piers. I can see they're in about the same position as well, fighting for that 4th place. So all to fight for right now. Till the pit stops happen, should I say?
And Gajda here, P10 in the championship right now, so not actually fighting for the win here. Pimlott, on the other hand, is fighting for a podium, currently in P4 in the championship. 1 point behind Molteni, which will surely switch after today. Talk about Molteni, still driving, and 1 lap down at the moment to the guys who pit already. So far, it's not looking too good for them to actually gain a position, but as we mentioned before, top 15 are getting points, so they are in the points right now, which is, I guess, all they can hope for today.
Yeah, and just noticed that Jonah came into the pit lane as we saw on the cams. Some reasons not in this race right now. I'm not sure why. Probably some technical issues happened when performing that pit stop, but yeah. So that's a few places for Molteni's going to grab a place there, being a lap back or 2 laps back as it says here in the timings, but. A few places for Molteni, Christina, Clark, as we see Clark's coming into the pit lane and now to get some new tyres after all that spinning he's been doing, bless him. But yeah, it's more points for the drivers in this race.
Molteni actually had a very slow lap in his last lap, 2:15.9. Didn't see a yellow flag on the track, or maybe I just missed it and was there, but also a bit struggling, it seems like. And Fonza did catch back up to the pro field. It's now behind Marcos. Quick look, yeah, Fonza on P3 at the moment. Around 30 points behind P2. And Marcos is on P7. So these two not really competing in the championship. But of course, more points is more points.
Yeah, that is true. They're still fighting each other for the position. So at least there's a fight for them to. That's happening. You don't want to be in pro sat in with the silvers and not racing for any points. You're just racing for overall position. That's not fun. So at least they got some racing to do, which is nice to see. And very clean racing as well. Just the Porsche following the Aston. Ooh, Porsche going a little bit wide, making a move. That was a bit weird there from Fonza, but both held it together. Oh, they are close, nice and close. Through there, we know the Porsche is very good through corners, and the Aston probably adds a bit more that straight line speed. But I've noticed one thing: Pinot, who was running second in silver, has done is in the pit lane and is rolling. I think he's done his pit stop. Yes, so he's dropped back to 16th overall. A bit early. 35 minutes left. That's 25 minutes in, so maybe just to get out of the fighting that was happening between them, Gaija and Frala that was happening in 7th, 8th, and 9th. So get some clean air, focus on the corners. Probably was realizing that they were going a little bit slower than they wanted to, losing that pace. Hitting early, they can get the pace down and get some good lap times and see if they can jump the 6:15 in the pits.
I'm pretty sure that's what they are trying to do. They probably felt like they were a bit faster than the 6:15 and wanted to make the pass through the pit stop. And looks like the 6:15 does not agree with that strat and just keeps on driving. Usually what you see in these scenarios is if the car behind pits, then here's the leading car, hit the lap after to kind of stop them from gaining the time on the fresher tires. Maybe that felt like not needed in that case. Jordan Daly also in the pits right now. And,
first one for the pro class. Not sure what's happening. I was talking to him. He was doing a little bit of practice before the race. That he doesn't mind the car on the track. He's got a bit of pace as we've seen as well. But he says there's something weird about the car. I think he was sliding a little bit. So unless he's just chewing away them tires a bit too quickly than he liked on the rear end, and he's pitted early just to get some fresh rubber. But we'll have to wait and see how his pace goes from now to the end of the race. But Pierce going for a move on that flanger, that Audi. Oh, not really going for it. Ulrich behind as well. So fight for third is on, as they say, Stewie. But 3 minutes until halfway, and see if these guys go for a pit stop.
Just before we switch to this battle, we saw Fonza trying the move in the first sector or first section again. The same one that we saw earlier. Didn't quite make it this time. Wasn't far long enough. So Marcos just closed the door there. So I feel like Fonza's getting a bit impatient now. Just like Pierce might be. And that is Ulrich, who probably thinks, I'm not gonna lose time with these two fighting. I'm just gonna pit now.
Yeah, he was like, nah, I'm gonna get out of this and go and try and get some laps down in fresh air, which is a very good thing to do. And I've just seen Fonza's coming in as well, so they've probably just decided I've had enough following the Aston Martin there and divert. But actually, the Aston Martin's coming in as well. I know that was 71 they were following, isn't it? So 70.
Yeah.
I'll get my words out in a minute, Stewie. There's too many people pitting at once. We've got Ulrich in, who's come out of, doesn't want to follow people. We've got Fonza in, who didn't want to follow the 71 Marcos. They were following very closely. He was just watching our second set of cameras that we've got very, very close, and, just decided to dip in. And First and Silver has now dipped in after Pimlott dipped in a lot earlier than them. They dipped in on lap 10. That was 3-4 laps ago now. So a few pit stops going on here. Gaio's come in as well. So
the next driver who doesn't want to follow someone else.
Yep, it's always the ones that don't want to follow, which is a very good call from the drivers, I would say. They probably can feel they've got more pace when they're in clean air, but have to wait and see. And this little battle's still going on. So have to see which one of them pits first. But Prala is now on his own. Doesn't have anyone following him, so that's a bit of relief for them.
Right, it wasn't Frala, it was Pimlott and Gazda. So he did lose some time, and if we look at the pit stops, Gazda, pit stop, 1 minute 14 seconds and 14.8, and Pimlott 18.2. So,
oh yeah, that's a big difference.
Lost 4 seconds there.
Yeah, so that's that's a big old long pit stop. I would guess they got in the pit box a little bit wrong, but just seen here, got a slip through under our little door that we have from Alpha. One of our stewards saying, "Boss's DT is 4 track limits." So that's gonna hurt Stewie. Still got a pit stop to do. Sliding around, had that crash earlier on in the race, coming out the last corner into that barrier, and now got to drive through for track limits. That's
and they were doing so well defending against the Merc from behind. So really heartbreaking for them. I wonder, with them being pretty far in the back already, how close that puts them to Molteni. Maybe they will get a position after all here. And Honza, who already was in the pits, I think we're still... Was Fonza following again? Oh, it was Marcos, who didn't pit yet. So we're gonna have to wait a few more laps until this battle continues.
There's 319's off. Ooh. What happened
here?
What happened to Clark? I saw he had a flag.
Ah, the rear again.
Rear end, yeah. And that was not even under braking. I don't.
Yeah, no.
I don't know, but yeah, that rear end's not very glued to the track for them, unfortunately, and they have put that garage door down. That'd be the end of their race for round 5. That's a shame. They were doing so well. Could have got some points, but yeah, when your car isn't safe enough to drive on this sort of track, it definitely puts you put your hopes and dreams down, and you just don't want to race anymore. You don't want to drive the car. So yeah, do not blame them for that. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it might have actually been one part of the S's where you just tap the brake very lightly, and if you already have a very unstable rear, then yeah, it's just unfortunate. And Team Martin Ulrich, who we are being told did their pit stop, had a really bad outlap, and then pitted again.
Yeah,
So
that's very weird.
So maybe they just did something wrong in their pit stop. Maybe forgot to change tires. No, the pit stop was done properly. So you can see in the timing tower next to their number, it's green, which means they did do the requirements for the pit stop, which is
I wonder if if anything, they could have not
forgot
put enough fuel in.
the fuel and had to go very slow.
Yeah,
But,
they only put enough in to complete the requirement and didn't put enough in to finish the race, but not too sure. They've been sat there for a very long time. Now, if they go back out again, will they go for fastest lap? But I don't see that coming. It's a bit too early on. But we'll keep you updated on that, and I don't think they'll go out again, but we'll come back to that later on.
Here's Fonza making the pass on Marcos with the pit stop.
There you go.
If you look at the time, we have, is it 1:15.9 for Fonza in the pits, and Marcos was a 19.4. So
Marcos, sorry, yes.
Yeah, so Marcos, basically all the time that we see in the gap right now, the screen, happened in the pit stop. And Pierce did not manage to make the move on Flamger, or either they did and then they lost it again, or the standings are just not correctly updated. Because if you look on the left, it says, well, now it's correct again. But yeah, they are still fighting. And Pierce actually 1 second faster in the pit stop. So I think what happened is that Pierce was actually faster on the pits, came out ahead of Flamger, but then because their tires were new, fresh, and cold, they lost the position again. This is their outlap actually. So yeah, back to where they were before the stop.
Yeah, you can see there as well that McLaren is a little bit wider through that double right-hander. Yeah, colder tires is not great, but here's Jordan Daly, 5th place at the minute, doing very well for himself, chasing these two, could get a 3rd place. I'd like to see Daly on a podium. He hasn't had one for a very long time. It's overdue, some would say, but yeah, doing very well in that Lamborghini. Didn't feel up to it too much earlier on. Said he had pace, but car was a little bit weird. He couldn't really figure out why, but at the minute he's doing all right. His pit stop was a little bit long, 1 minute 16.3. So you know, 2 to 3 seconds faster than the two guys in front. So you know, if that was a good quick lap pit stop like them two did in front, then he would have been in front of them by now. But you know, you never know. He might get them lap times down. He's just set his fastest as well.
I was about to say that Daly seems to have found their pace, and considering, as you mentioned, 3 seconds slower pit stop compared to Pierce, and still only 1 second behind, which means that Daly has been running really fast laps since their pit stop. Remember, Daly, one of the first ones to pit, and has caught up quite a lot. So now the question is, can Daly pass Pierce and or Flamger before the tires start to be worse than Pierce and Flamger's, which will happen at some point. I think they stopped 4 or 5 laps earlier. Let's Yeah, so
Yeah.
3 laps earlier. So a bit on the clock right now to make that move.
Yeah,
Uh,
he was
yeah.
the first pro to do the pit stop pretty early on, lap 11 compared to Flamga's at 13 and Pierce's lap 14 pit stop. So yeah, definitely tyres are going to be a bit more worn in. Knowing Daly, he's probably gone full beans for it straight out of the pit lane. So hopefully he can hold on to the pace and hold on to his tyres for another 23 minutes. As we see, the number 19 Martini has completed their pit stop and is obviously ahead of the 41. I don't think the 41 is going to participate in any more laps, which means they won't. I don't think they'll complete the 85% rule, but we'll find out next weekend if they did or didn't. I have to do some looking at that later on. But see there, Stephen is in chat, who was in the Honda and said, "I was so unprepared for this." Haha, I do feel so sorry for you, dude. Being unprepared for a race, jumping in, and then the setup's not right there, or you just can't get to grips with the car and the track is such a big downer. But good for you to keep in it. And oh, Maltini's just got to drive through. Or track
Oh,
limits.
I mean, luckily for them, they're not going to lose anything. They're already a lap behind, and they didn't really plan on getting any positions anyway. So for them, I guess just another day in the pits. But yeah, doesn't really change anything for the end result here. Himlot now getting closer to Gajda again. Let's see what round number 4 or 5 of this this fight will bring us here. Aston definitely quick on the straight, and I'm surprised we haven't really seen any fights or moves on this straight here. You'd think that the chances are high that 2 cars are paired where one just gains in the slipstream, but we haven't really seen that yet. Here, Pimlot trying it around the outside. Not really having the traction there, having to go on the curbs, and obviously not wanting to get a track limit. So, not in this corner. But, yeah, looks a bit quicker right now. Just a few tenths on the last lap, but they did catch up from being back a few tenths again. So, I feel like we're going to see a move here very soon. And same time, we have Galinski and Pusina and Kaniku, who are fighting for P4 in this race. And for Galinski, of course, got a drive-through earlier. This is basically just a recovery drive, and they yeah, made it to P4 already, and only 11 seconds behind Bilski. Although, oh, they're going a bit wide there. But nothing happened to them. But yeah, Galinski doesn't look like they're much quicker than Bilski at the moment, so I don't think they're gonna get these 12 seconds in the last 20 minutes.
Well, we just have to wait and see, because obviously Bilski and Glinsky are both on 100 points each. But well, joint first in the Silver Championship at this moment in time. So, you know, this is really big for Bilski. Like I said earlier, that drive-through for Glinsky is definitely not what they wanted. But just seeing in chat as well, Ulrich saying, "Sorry guys, had to retire. My gear shifter broke. It only shifts down sometimes just after the pit stop. So that is why they are unfortunately out of this race. And hopefully you can get that fixed for round 6. Finish off this championship. But that's really bad. You know, it's the last thing you want is your hardware to fail on you. You know, this late in a season, or just ever really, to be honest. But yeah, unfortunately that has happened, and hopefully you can get that repaired.
Penrod here, still following Gajda. Pierce still following Flamga. Not too close at the moment, and Daly also falling back a bit now. So instead of pitting early, maybe not working out after all. Apart from that, the whole grid is kind of split up, which was one of the the fears that we as stream crew had is big track, not a lot of cars. So we're thankful for every bit of action that we're getting here. Zagi also falling back a bit more to Bakirdan. I think it was close to a second before the pit stops. These two not really doing anything special at the moment, just trying to get through the race, I guess. The pit window also closing in a bit. Xena doing their drive-through. And yeah, there's really not a lot happening at the moment.
When you say that, I'm just looking at Glinsky. You're on about Glinsky and Bielski being on the same points, and you're saying they were 12 seconds back. That is closed down to 9.6 at the minute. Glinsky did their fastest lap last lap at 206.047. Bielski's last lap was a 208.232. So they keep going on like this. I think Glinsky, 2 seconds a lap, will catch up pretty darn quickly, and there'll be a fight for third in silver, and obviously for overall points in the standings, which is very crucial for Glinsky to keep ahead. And with that pace going on there, I can see that happening pretty quickly. Just don't make no mistakes and not get another drive-through. Their first one was a penalty against hitting Fonza, I believe, and don't want to get a drive-through for track limits, as we see. Unfortunately, Martini has got one for track limits, so it's not. Yeah, it doesn't really matter for them. They'll still be in the 85% completed leader laps rule we have. That you go under the 85%, then you do not get the points. But if you stay within there, then you do. So they should be fine. Joining late to the race, not doing qualifying, they're not doing too bad.
Was their first drive-through actually for track limits? Because I feel like it was for speeding in the pits. I think they got it just when they left the pits, but I'm not entirely sure on that one. If it is for track limits, that would be 2 drive-throughs in what, 6 laps? No, actually 3 laps. And now on lap 18, and they pitted on lap 15.
Stewing team says it was track limits. So I will go with that. I trust them enough. Yeah, it could have been. Who knows? Yeah, as we know, it's not just a stop and go now. If you speed in the pit lane, if you just speed that tiny bit, you can get a drive through. So yeah, it's one of them. But we see here Pimlott fighting, try and get that first place in silver with the 615. Very nice moves, not going for unnecessary dives into that. Very easy to just go for a stupid dive into there, and especially at this end of this long straight. Taking the sensible line. Did he make a move? No, he's sitting behind, getting very close to the rear end of that V8 and keeping that M4 nicely in a line. But what will happen with their tyres now, Stewie?
Oh, that is
oh
dear.
Gone. Oh dear. That's
yeah,
that's great. That's great news for Pimlott. Not great news for the 615.
It's also great news for Galinsky.
That as well, yes. They'll be sitting in third place, and Bielski sitting in second right now. So that I haven't seen that for a very long time. In my commentating career, but yeah, that's very unfortunate. I wonder
that must have been very scary for Pimlott, though. Just seeing the car going straight and praying that it doesn't just plop him back on track in front of you.
Oh, that's happened to me a few times. It's very painful when it happens. But yeah, that made us stop in our tracks of what we were saying when we saw that car decided to eat concrete. But yeah, Pimlott's now got clean air.
Just when we're about to see them actually fight. We saw Pimlott try to do the cutback, few corners there, but yeah, we sadly got denied of that. And Pierce still not really making it closer to Flamger here, but they are still gapping Daly a tiny bit. Let's have a look at the gap between Galinsky and Bilski. Still closing the gap, but it's not by 2 seconds anymore. Last lap was only 1 second, so I still don't think Galinsky is gonna make it. At least not without any bigger mistakes from Bilski.
His lap times will slow down a little bit. Yeah, he's gonna have to at least catch 2 seconds a lap or more now. So Bilski just needs to keep the car going on the track, get no more warnings for the the inevitable drive-through. That can happen at any time, and it's the worst thing when you see it pop up right in front of your face that you have got a penalty for track limits. If you hit someone, you know there's going to be a penalty coming. But with track limits around COTA, you don't know. For a few more corners, but we'll catch up with them as time goes on. But see here, Pierce still following Flamger quite closely. Daly, on the other hand, sort of dropped off a little bit, unfortunately. Still sitting in 5th, which is very good from him. And Fowler's not really much of a challenge, 12 seconds back from Daly. So the 197 doing okay. Last lap was a 206.9. At least half a second or more off the pace from the two guys in front, as we see here. They are flying. Anything can happen though. If these two try and go for a move, one of them shuts door, the other spins, then Daly's got an easy 4th place there. But anything can happen. We just have to wait and see.
Gaio in the back here. Slowly catching Pusina, who got dropped back a bit with their drive-through. We might see Gaio getting another position. Boss still quite far behind, also because of their drive-through. And then Kenny at the back, just racing to be here. Not expect to show up today at all. Then showed up after qualifying and is now just getting some points. Of course, with who was that again? Who dropped? I already forgot the name. Something with a B. No, it was not Galinsky. It was not Bilski. It's Gaija, genau.
Right. Yeah. So there's people dropping. Like you say, there's people dropping out. Maltini's still here to race. Bit of experience on the track with the car, with the setup. It's an hour-long practice session for them right now, but still gaining points. That's the main thing. At the minute,
P8 right now.
Yeah, exactly. So still got quite a bit of points there. Which is what they need and where they sit in the minute. They're 3rd in the championship, so they need right now. They need all the points they can get just to try and stay within the fight. But they're 1 point between them and Pimlott for 3rd in the standings. So Pimlott's gonna sort of walk away with this a bit more than Maltini will. But Bill Mortar's not here. Boss is, but he's down the order. Pusina's down the order as well. So still got a bit of headroom between all the other guys. Still round 6 to go. If they get a good finish in round 6, then they'll be okay. But just wait and see.
We have Ulrich in the chat. Sorry guys, have to retire. My gear shifter broke. It only shifts down sometimes, just after the pit stop. So there we have the explanation why Ulrich retired. Very unfortunate. There's a few too many technical issues here today with the game, the cars, the gear. But we lost 4 drivers so far. It's only about 8.5 minutes to go. Yes, still hasn't come closer to Flamger here. maybe just lurking a bit and waiting for the opportunity, not trying to destroy their tires too much. It's getting to the point where you kind of have to get a move on to make that pass. The gap
Yeah,
between Bakirdan and Bazagi still hasn't really changed, and there was one car going a bit wider. Was that
our boss in the
that was
Audi.
Boss? Yeah.
Oh, looks like they got the front end damage. You're just moving out of the way for the faster cars. Very nice to see. Don't ram daily now, as I say that. Normally what happens, but yeah, just looking at Pierce's time. It was a bit slower the lap before. You know, they've only got about 4-ish laps left of the race to go. 2 minute a lap is what it is. So about 4 laps ish. Yeah, Pierce's last lap was 2 tenths off, and the lap before was at least I think 4 tenths off. So I think it's just waiting it out, trying to keep those tires, you know, keep the grip in the tires, not pushing it too hard. But will we see a move anytime soon? Hopefully we do, and hopefully they can put it off and be a nice place for Piers. Flamberger can always turn that around and come back again, but 7 minutes left and not much time left of this race. Not many laps to go, so if you're gonna make a move, they need to make it soon.
I feel like the Audi is just a bit too quick on the straights. You could see it here how Pierce lost time on the straight, and yeah, that's where the gap opens. We saw it in the first sector here. Pierce actually gaining about 2 tenths on Flamger, and then we get to the straight, and they're gone again. Then it's just in the last sector. Yes, the Audi also a bit stronger. You can see right now pulling away a bit. So yeah, maybe the McLaren just not the best car on this track here. He's
anything, sorry.
But
Well, if it's anything like Paul Ricard drove it for the EWC race a weekend or two ago, it's not great in a straight line compared to a lot of the other cars. It, like you see here, it just doesn't have the top speed. Even if you take a lot of the wing off, it still doesn't reach it compared to a lot of the cars. But in the corners, that's where it shines. If you can get corners perfect or near enough perfect compared to the car in front, then you're in with a chance for an overtake. But it's keeping them behind. And even though in the slipstream, like we see here, Pierce is right in that slipstream of that Audi. He's not getting anywhere near on the straights as you would normally see if it was another car like a Lambo or a Ferrari. You see here into the braking zones, into the corners, right behind them again. So yeah, it's one of them. If he needs to make a move, he needs to make a move in the corners under braking.
yeah, it was again gaining about 2 tenths in the S's there, and we started this gap at 0.3 of a second. So let's see where we end up at the end of the straight. 0.35 already. Let's actually switch to this one. And yep, 0.4 at the end here, including the braking. So lost about 1/10, and I guess the other 10th are going to be lost in this section. But yeah, there's just no real opportunity for Pierce to make a move. He somehow has to, I don't want to say scare, let's say put pressure on Flamger to maybe make a mistake, brake a bit too late into a corner, or have a tiny slide to actually make that overtake. But then, if Pierce makes the overtake, can he even defend it on the straight?
Oh yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, the Audi and the slipstream of the McLaren will just blast past them. They got no slipstream right now, and look, they're already going. We can already see it's disappearing to a small dot, small silver dot. But it's crazy how slow on the exits and on the top speed the McLaren is, but then it just shines in the corners. But yeah, so this is the fight for third. It's a very difficult fight. And just looking back for the fight of second or silver, Blinsky is 2.2 seconds behind Bilski. Just a little heads up, even though we've got like maybe 2 laps at least left of this race, and Galinsky get past Bilski for second. Have to wait and see. And you said it can't be done, but I think it can be done, Stewie.
I mean, he's gonna have one, maybe one, probably more like half a lap to do it. But it's gonna be very tight. And actually have a look here at the speed that the McLaren can do in the slipstream, because this is still slipstream distance, at least for most cars. 240, 250, 55, I think it was 57.
Yeah, it said 57.
Next lap we will have a look at the Audi without slipstream, which I assume will be around 61, 62. Just enough to drive away from the McLaren here. We're back to the corners. It's looking a bit closer, but not close enough for Pierce. And at the back here, we have Pusina, who did get overtaken by Gaio, then took the position back, and now they're fighting again, according to the standings there. A bit of contact.
That's gonna... Oh, that could be warnings for that Mercedes right there. That is not what you want right there. Even if you slow down a bit, this track is very pushing for the warnings of the track cuts. So I think the stewards will pick that up and have a look. It might just be no further action. It might just be a racing incident. You know, it wasn't too much of a door bang, but put him way off track, put Guy way off track there, and not something you want. But they're back again with the 3rd and 4th place fighting 3rd in Pro. Pierce just can't do anything. Like, you can see he wants to go for moves, but then the Audi's got just enough speed where they just closes again.
Yeah, Pierce actually about a 10th away on the exit of the first corner there, so closer than he's ever been. But then you just cannot really send it into the S's there. The only part where you can maybe do it is where we saw the Porsche do it earlier, but it's a very risky move to do, and you have to depend on the other driver to not turn in on you. Here we go, 250, 57, 58, 59, but still same speed without the slipstream.
Yeah,
which of course is enough to not get overtaken. And I think it's going to be very close with another lap. No, there's going to be enough time. So Makirdan here, going to cross the line with a few seconds to go, bringing us onto the last lap of this race and the last chance for Pierce to make a move here. See again, the Audi just gaining in the last sector as well.
Audi is just going and going. But then yeah, Pierce just comes back again. But yeah, it's a very hard fight. I wouldn't want to be in Pierce's position because frustration just hits you, and you want to go faster. And the thing is, you got to remember, you got to remind yourself, don't push it too hard, as you're going to make a mistake. And then if you make a mistake, you're going to lose out the chance of do a send, or get into a position where you can make a move, or Flamingo might make a mistake that you can get past, and if you've made a mistake, you might not be able to make it past. All these things can go through your head, and you just got to stay so focused on just doing your race, your lines. You're still finishing 4th at the end of the day. You still got quite a bit of points in the bag.
Yeah, and at the moment, Pierce ahead of Flamga in the standings, leading by something between 15 and 20 points. So, yep, probably not gonna switch positions because that is not enough points for Flamga here. 5-second penalty for Lucina. That is probably for the incident we saw just a lap ago with the Mercedes there.
Yeah, so we got, I'll read them out quickly before our first place driver gets across the line. We've got incident lap 27, turn 1 involving the 903 and the 812 racing incident. That's what we saw, the first contact. And then we got turn 2, oh, that was very close. Turn 2 involving the 812 and the 903. 5 seconds for car 903, forces the 812 off track, gaining an advantage. So there we go, 5-second penalty for Pusina there.
He
And
thought
across
about
the...
it. He thought about it. He could see it.
Well, very well done to Vulcan on the first place there. Not too easy win. Dario coming across the line in second, 2.7 seconds back. But here we are, the race we've been watching for a very, very long time. Pierce cannot make it across. Very well done to both of them though. Flanger in third, Pierce in fourth, and Daly will come across the line in fifth. Very well done to Daly for holding it in there, doing very well in that Lamborghini.
And here we have Galinski and Bilski, and did close the gap on the straight, which put them within half a second. And now it comes down to, were you right or was I right, I guess? I said half a lap is not enough. You said it is. Let's find out in the last corner. He thought about it.
Oh, can he get the exit? That's the main thing. Can he get... I don't think he can. Nope. And across the line. Pimlot in first place for silver. Very well done to them. Very clean race. Got lucky with the 615 having their incidents. Well, their through the floor incident, unfortunately. Bilski in second and Galinski very, very close behind in third for silver. And we see Kano in the 640 come across line in fourth. Pacino in fifth at the moment. Gaio in sixth. Boston in seventh. And Maltini coming around the track, 3 laps down, still racing, having a little bit of fun, coming home in the last place for silver, but still ahead of some of the other drivers that, unfortunately didn't make it.
Let's have a look at this overall timetable here. We had 4 drivers drop out of the race, but I think this was a really good setup for an interesting finale next week in both classes. Actually, silver was a bit closer than pro, but yeah, it's gonna be really interesting next week if all the drivers who are still in the fight are gonna be there, and it's gonna be at Paul Ricard.
Yeah, so basically
from one off track to the next one. Good one, Ted. Good one.
I didn't think of that, did I? Yeah, basically it's the same track, but we'll have to see.
Just a different color.
Just a different color in a different country. Just have to see what I have in store for them. Secrets I know, but you have to tune in next week for that one. But yeah, very well done to Vulcan on that first place win and the Speedy's fastest lap of today's race. Well done to all drivers. A few incidents in there today, but all in all, very good race between all drivers. Very clean. We only had that one incident at the beginning, really, with Fonza and Galinski, I believe it was. Galinski turned them, just tapped them, got a bit too much throttle in the Aston, gave the Porsche a little bit of a knock, but Fonza came back strong. Galinski got the drive-through, served it, and came back and almost got that second place in silver. But apart from that, very clean race, very nice driving, some close calls, but yeah, all in all, a very, very good race.
Indeed, indeed. I think, yeah, three issued penalties from the stewards. That might be a new record.
I think that is a new record. That's 2 records we set this season in Night. And I know there's only over 16 cars today, but a record is a record.
What was the other one?
I think it was like 4 or 5.
No, I mean the other record, the other one that we said. Was it the most equal points in standings?
I think so. Yeah. very long time ago in Night Owl's career, if we like to say.
Just did get another paper slipped under the door from the stewards. There is a post-race penalty for number 812, turn 20, involving number 8 and 812. 812 ignoring blue flags and blocking lap traffic. So
that's
is
Gaio in the Mercedes who was blocking the number 8, who is Dario, who's his second place for pro. So yeah, Gaio is got 5 seconds as well. So that's probably put them back from Pusina. Gained a place with the 5 seconds that Pusina got the contact with Gaio, and now Gaio goes and gets one for blue flag infringement. That's a really big shame right there. But you can't mess with the stewards. They do a very good job, and yeah, that was a penalty that was given out.
All right, then I guess we do the Jesse thing of thanking our partners, AK Informatica, providing us with the server hardware to run these races on. Driver 61, providing driver coaching, and according to Jesse, which I'm assuming he knows them, we have a lot of drivers on the staff who use that coaching and gain a lot of time. So if you want to find the last second, or maybe more than that, if you're of a beginner, then go to the website, check it out. And Fanatec, of course, which probably everybody knows in the sim racing world, providing sim racing gear like wheels and pedals and all that sweet stuff. And if you yourself want to get involved with racing at RCI, like doing Night Owl or Friday Champs or Monday Champs or Thursday Champs or our Endurance Champs, you can go to the website racerci.com and choose from one of our many championships.
Yeah, and if you want to do a bit of Ginetta racing on a Monday, we have a series coming up this Monday. It starts this Monday, as I keep saying, this Monday. Get your pre-queue time in by Monday, and you'll get to race a 7 round champ, a few different tracks: Carlisle, Zolder, Bathurst, Snetterton, Suzuka, Watkins, and Donington Park. They're an hour race, and then they split into 2 half-an-hour races in between. So it's a little bit of fun in Ginettas. Everyone's in a lovely, good old Ginetta. You cannot, not do that. And I'll be driving in that one this time at Stewie, which is something different from me. I'm not very fast, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, if you want to do a big Ginetta, this Monday is the place to be. Or if you just want to watch it, I believe we are streaming it. So be back here Monday night around about, what's that, 7:45? I would say 7:45 BST. And yeah, but if you like any other racing, yeah, just head over to the website that our lovely Stewie has made, and yeah, just see what you want to do. And if you want to become a staff member, we do have some stewarding positions and some broadcasting positions. If you head over to our Discord, which is also on the website, then you will, then you can apply and we'll have a look and see if you fit in. But yeah, I think until next time, I have been Ted Edwards. He has been Stewie. And I will see you for round 6 of Night Owl next weekend.
I was so hoping for the "and this is Jackass." But indeed. Have a good night and see you on Monday or Friday or Saturday. Bye.